Ah, there she is. Yay, she
Hi
did
again.
that. Right, can I ask everybody to mute themselves, please? All right, so welcome to some quick and dirty Google tools for remote learning. I'm Denise Weintraut, and I'm with Michelle Cohen, who is the president of the West Jersey Reading Council. We are a local affiliate of the New Jersey Literacy Association, which is the state affiliate of the International Literacy Association. So we are your local connection to ILA. And we thought that we would bring some tech tools to you to help you out during this time. Please feel free to reach out to us. This will be as part of the recording. We are both active on Twitter, and you can email us. We'd love to hear from you. Send us questions. We'd love to help you. So today we're going to talk about a few quick and dirty things that we found are just really helpful with remote learning, namely turning some PDFs into docs, how to use Google Draw, Google Keep, some Google add-ons that we think you should get, and some Google Applied Digital Skills lessons along with AutoDraw. So we wanted to talk just quickly about turning a PDF into a Google Doc. And so many of us have that dreaded, well, I don't like to use the name worksheets, but so many of us have these old worksheets from all these manuals or stuff that we've had, and we've turned them into activity-based things. But you don't want to take those paper forms and use them during COVID. So you want to be able to deliver them in a digital manner. So you can transfer those easily into Google Docs. So first you just need to upload your PDF to your Google Drive. And then in the upper right-hand corner of your window, you'll see the little 3 dots on the right. You select the PDF, go to those 3 dots, and then choose Open With and select Google Docs. And then that'll automatically load that PDF into an editable Google Doc. And what's great about this is you don't have to draw lines. It'll automatically fill in the lines and make lines for you if you want to have something that can be distributed for kids to print out and fill in the blank. You may have to adjust the formatting with some line spacing, some bullets. Sometimes that doesn't always transfer over. And if you really want to make it digital friendly for remote learning, consider replacing those lines with a 1-cell table. When you do a table, if you print it out, it still just looks like an open block where kids can write in their text. And if you give it digitally, it gives kids unlimited space to keep typing away in it. So we highly recommend anytime that you're giving kids a Google Doc and you want them to fill in the blank or answer a question, don't just leave open space there. Use a table, insert a table with 1 cell, and that'll make a huge difference. Let's see. All right, Michelle, you want to talk about Google Drawings?
Okay, Google Drawings, or do we want to talk about any questions for PDFs yet, or do we want to?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Any questions about turning PDFs into docs? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Okay, I think it's a great tool because sometimes you do get those PDFs and something that you do want to use, but now instead of recreating it on your own, which is what I was doing, now I've learned that tool as well. Okay, this is Google Drawings. This is one of my favorite features within your Google Drive. I love this feature, okay? I do teach special ed students, and giving them a visual of a graphic organizer is wonderful. Right here, the Google Drawing, it's basically a visual board, and you can have drawings in there, you can have images, everything you can write wherever you're putting your graphic organizer, so it's wonderful. Right here in my example, I do have okay.
Oh, sorry. Do I need to go forward?
Oh, no, there's just check on the chat. We'll just, Denise, you and I will check on the chat if we can, think we need to keep them muted. Okay. All right, so this right here is a Fryer model of a vocab template, and it shows everybody on the left-hand side what you would need to do. And everything right in here where it says you write your definition, text goes here. So the students can actually write the definition of the text without you looking at a dictionary. Maybe they'll get that from context. Okay, you put your term in the middle. So this is one way that I like to use Google Drawings. Over on the right-hand side for non-example, you can put images, and I'll show you a really cool add-on that you can get to add those images later, or the students can draw it. I got some really creative students, or I have students that just like to use emojis or icons, and that's a feature as well. Okay, next screen, Denise.
So Google Drawings are fabulous for Frayer models. Absolutely. Why is this not? There we go.
There we go. So here are some of my more examples. We're going to go into a few of them, but it's great for creating graphic organizers. Like I said, that link that's at the top there, it's a website that I found that has so many of these already made, and it'll force you to make a copy. So all you need to do is just make a copy into your own drive, and then you can use it however you want. You can take out information. I found a timeline before that was used for history class, but I made it for a template for Macbeth instead, where I said, you know, what are the plots of, you know, how does Lady Macbeth go crazy? And it was a great adaptation of that history template. Here's something that I did use right in the fall. So we did Poetry Month for April online, and I did some haikus because they were very simple. We were learning syllables. Like I said, I do teach these self-contained students, and they had them right on here. This was my intro really to haikus, and then by the end of the unit, they were writing haikus on their own, and they were really cute and fun. I did send them home, but in the fall, not the fall, in March, with some origami paper just for fun. So I put on here how to make a crane, and later on, I also connected it to, showed them why the crane was significant to Japan. So we brought that into a history lesson. Just any way that I could use, you know, I could make my work a little bit less by combining things and working with the other teachers in the program. Over on the right-hand side, if you use Words Their Way or need students to sort vocab words, or if you're working on those different syllables, Denise, you want to click on vocab sample and I'll show them what this does? Or since it's your screen, you'll have to show them what it does. Okay. So this is useful for word sorting, okay? So what I like about Google Drawing, we're actually in a drawing right now. On the left-hand side, you can put your information and your directions for the student. In the center, that's actually where the work happens, okay? So a long A word, the kid can move. Sat, is it long A or short A? They can move it right underneath. So you just have to click on, here you go, Denise, pick one.
I'm in view only mode, so that's my problem.
Oh, okay, so darn.
We were counting on Michelle presenting this under her account, so
it's
we
okay.
messed up, guys.
So
sorry.
What happens is the students can actually just take these words and move them directly into the categories that you want, and then turn in their work on Google Classroom, and you'll be able to see if they have the word sort correct.
And what's nice about this is we're used to doing these word sorts on our smart boards and, you know, and our projector screens in our classroom, but we can't use those anymore. Kids aren't touching any of that. So this is a way for you to still do that hands-on manipulation with word sorting using their digital technology instead. And so it's far more engaging for the kids. So this is just a great technique to use.
And if you are in the classroom, this will cut down on the amount of scissors students are using, paper, glue, everything that would go with a traditional word sort, because I used to do this by hand, all on their desks. It got crazy and messy. It was fun, but I don't think I can do that this year. I will have to go to something online and teach them this way instead. They're still getting the skills. It's just a little different. Okay, thanks, Denise. Another example I do have, so the read then draw. So I give my students, click on that example there, read then draw. So I give them a Newsela article to use, and Newsela was great with giving us a free subscription to use. So after they read an article about dinosaurs, I had them go and create their own dinosaur, and then down at the bottom, they had to tell me a little bit about their dinosaur. I thought this was really cool. This was after we've been using Google Drawings a lot and showing them how to use it. So they went and created their own little dinosaur on their own. And then down at the bottom, I have a writing sample of, you know, what their dinosaur is about. So I would use this to gauge, you know, does the student have good grammar right now? Is there anything I need to correct with words? This student did really well, but a lot of my students don't understand that you can use you can change in it, like the little squiggly lines show that there's a word that's misspelled. So I can figure out what word sorts they need to work on based on what spelling features are making mistakes on. So this was really helpful. This little guy, he got it good though. So that's a different example of how you can use
Woo!
Google Drawings.
Sorry.
Yeah, the wind behind me, I'm hoping we, I hope we have
My
it.
half of my backyard patio furniture just blew away. So
Oh, okay. All right. Go back, Denise. Thank you.
thank you. All right, hang
Wait
on,
a
let me
minute, I
find
thought
this.
they were huge.
What were huge? The dinosaurs? This little guy's dinosaur is small. He made a turtle. Lights are flickering. Yes, I know. If this does happen to get, if you could just come back on your own if you need to. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
a little bit about Google Drawing. Does anybody have any questions on that? No? Okay. You can, I love it because you can write directly onto it just as if you were in a PDF. I use this instead of using a doc because a doc will, you know, the wording gets all messed up and it would go down the page. And the templates that are already there, there's everything you can ever imagine. So click on that later on and you can go to a whole website with all the templates already made. Okay. All right. Google Keep, Denise.
I also like Google Drawing. When I'm doing a Google form and an assessment, it's sometimes difficult to put text. If you want to put a whole couple of paragraphs or maybe a poem that you want children to read, I can put it into a Google Drawing, export it as an image, and put it into my Google form. And that is so powerful because then you can have figures that you want kids to analyze. Maybe you want them to analyze the features of a chart or a map if you're working on that in a collaborative thing with other disciplines. Or maybe for me, I just want them reading a piece of text and then responding to it. And I don't want to have to put the body of the entire text into the question itself. I just use Google Drawing to create that image and pop it into my Google form. So I really like it for that. So one of the other time-saving things and sanity-saving things that I like is Google Keep. And I don't know how many people are familiar with Google Keep, but it is everything and anything that you could possibly want. I call it a digital note-taking app, but it's more than that. You can use it to store your ideas, websites you go to. If somebody sends you a PDF, you can store it on there so you can find it. Pics that your kids have done of their schoolwork that you want to save as samples. Notes to yourself. I often use it for anytime I find a cool idea on a website, I'm logging that, and maybe I'll take out a few things out of a blog that I'm reading and just post it on there. I use it for reminders. You can have it so that it will automatically remind you to look at this on this date if you want, and you can specify the dates and times. So I know a lot of colleagues use it as reminders for to-dos for school. I use it as reminders for, hey, look at this before we go back to school. So I have a whole bunch of things tagged for like mid-August where I want to review them for my remote learning ideas. You can color code it, assign dates, and the best part, it's a Google tool. So it's got searchable labels and searchable content. So if you don't know what you called it, you can still find your notes because it is all searchable. And I use it for to-do lists. You can make check boxes with it. And we put in there a link for a Google Keep cheat sheet. So you'll want to take a look at that at some point. But just to show you, we have some other links that you can use with Google Keep. So here's something where you can use it for bookmarking, project management, note cards, daily habits. You can even do it for annotation and illustration. You can use it for reading logs. Your students can use it as well. Just a ton of stuff for you to use it for. You can have not only time-based reminders, but location-based reminders with it too. Remind me when I get to school to look at this. So it's only good if you're actually in the building. I'll show you a quick thing of some other stuff too. So here's just an example of a couple of Google Keep things where Michelle had these as a checklist for herself and, you know, places that she wants to visit. I keep a list of the TV shows I want to watch on Google Keep. And so I can, because people say, oh, you got to watch this on Netflix, or, oh, you want to do that. And time is of the essence. So I don't always have time, and my brain is not my own these days. So I like being able to keep my brain on Google Keep. We have a link there for 15 ways for students to use Google Keep and more tips and tricks. But I'll just show you, here's an example of just the top of my page of Google Keep, but I'm going to show you it a little bit more detail. Let me see if I can do that quickly. Whoops, hang on. It's not letting me get out of here. Hang on. All right, I'll just explain it from here. So I use it, as you can see on the upper left-hand corner over here. I have my back to school online activities. It's a link that I posted. I have it set to remind me. I put some labels on there for back to school, remote learning. I have a PDF of something that I wanted to save, and where it was like a first day station rotation idea. Invitation to a Brave Space poem. And then I even added some notes to that website. So it's not even just putting a link, you can add your own notes to it. I do a lot of checklists, like here's my back to school checklist. What do I need to do? I need to get my classroom job descriptions, which is going to be very different with an online environment. And, you know, I want to create a mechanism for my jobs list and develop my online expectations, just those little checklists that we have for everything. This is a very powerful tool. You can post videos on here. I don't normally do videos or pictures, but you can put those on as well if you want to save those and you don't want to use YouTube to track your videos. Just very powerful stuff. And students, I find one of the best ways for students to use this is for checklists of to-do lists for themselves. See this little pin here? If you pin it, it stays at the top of your notes. I have 50 million notes on here. I'm not kidding. I know I'm exaggerating, but I have more notes than anybody could read in a day. So it's just a fabulous tool. Any questions about Google Keep?
I wanted to add too that you can also share these notes with other people and add collaborators on there. So if I had like my travel list, I collaborated with my husband so he can put anything he wants to. So it's great for collaboration among if you have a co-teacher, it's really wonderful for that. Or if you wanted to share, let's say, a spelling list out to a student, here you go. You can already preload these all in there, and then you can share out that spelling list if you want to do that.
Yeah, we use it a lot with grade level collaboration. So my 8th grade team will use it for, you know, we're tracking students that we're concerned about. You know, who do we need to keep an eye on today? We just track that list. And it just is something that we can easily, quickly access without having to go through a bunch of emails. So that's nice too. All right, Michelle.
Okay, so these are Google add-ons. Let me make sure, okay, I'm not muted. Okay, these are Google add-ons. Hold on.
While I'll talk for a second while she's waiting for her beautiful dog to quiet down. Our Google add-ons are things that are application specific. So this is one of the glorious things about the Google suite of tools. You can customize them by selecting add-ons that will add to the power of each individual application. But just because you have an add-on for a Google Doc does not mean it will work on a Google Slide. So you have to make sure that you are within the application that you want the add-on for when you add that.
Okay, I can talk now. My daughter is going babysitting, so she dressed up like the person in It with the yellow outfit on. So she's going out into that storm right now to go babysit our neighbors. So my dog didn't understand what a poncho looked like. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the Google add-ons, Denise explained them a little bit. These will make your life a little bit easier. Google has integrated different products into their slides and everything like that. So everything works right from slides. You don't need to leave. I love that. All right. So these Google add-ons are ones that we kind of suggest. There's so many. It depends on what you teach specifically. But right now, we have for slides, Unsplash. Unsplash is a great photo getter. So Google, you should really use the Google Photos, but these are also photos that are free. So you're making sure that your students aren't using any copyrighted photos. It's great to be a good digital citizen and not steal photos. Make sure that they're all free for use, so everybody gets the credit. Go ahead, Denise.
Michelle, if I can interrupt. So that you know, when you search for images and you try to insert images when you're within Google, it automatically only pulls up those images that are copyright free, that it's safe for you to use without any copyright infringement, which is why you'll say like, I did a Google search on Google and then I looked when I was doing it in Google Docs and hardly anything came up. Well, that's because it gave you the stuff that it's safe for you to use. But Unsplash has so many high res photos. They are really unique, good for all content areas. I can't stress it enough. The photos they have on pre-K to 2 areas are just like all sorts of content that you could use, and people of diverse backgrounds, so you don't need to worry about showing all young white kids. They've got a lot of great photos.
Okay, there's my lights you can see in the background flashing. Okay, so Icons by Noun Project, that's a great website to get great icons. So if you see on the right-hand side, we have the little trophy. They're just more icons to make your presentations a little bit splashier and a little bit fun. Students can also use them. Maybe they can make little emoji sentences and see if they can come up with, you know, the Lion King, have a lion and then a king crown, and then say, hey, what movie is this? So just another way to get creative, but you can use icons and have entire sentences using pictures. Okay, Nearpod and Pear Deck have been around for a while. They're both, well, Nearpod is for different slides, and you can integrate, let's say I want to have a poll. So maybe I want to have a poll in the middle of me teaching lessons, or I want to ask the students the question. Nearpod will stop your lesson and then make sure that the students answer that question, and then you'll be able to see that live feedback right then and there. You don't need to go to Nearpod anymore. Nearpod has come to Google Slides, so you can integrate and say, hey, I want to add a poll right here after my slide. When you're finished working with your slides and integrating whatever content you would like for Nearpod, you just simply upload it to Nearpod if you have a subscription for that. That's great. Our school does pay for one, so I do use that with my students. I really like the draw tool. That's what I have as my opener. The students, I'm like, hey, draw me whatever. I just, you know, what would you like to do this weekend? And then have the students draw that. Again, I teach this very special ed kids. For Pear Deck is awesome. It's mainly for elementary students, but I've made it work all the way up to 11th grade, and the students love it. It's just a way like, hey, did you just get that concept I just taught you? Yes or no? And then the students can click on either yes or no. So it's just like Pear Deck. It integrates their slides into yours, and it's almost anonymous so that the students don't feel bad like, hey, I didn't get that. They can now say right on their screen, and then you'll get, hey, you know, 30% of your students didn't get this, and then you'll know if you need to reteach that. So they're great for integrating into slides. Pear Deck is free. They do have a part that you can pay for, but I looked at the paid stuff and you can kind of make that yourself. So a lot of more open-ended questions with Pear Deck, but they have great material that is free for everybody to use.
And Pear Deck has tons of templates that you can use for where you don't even have to create anything, and you just pop in that Pear Deck slide, and then when you go to present it, you just click on present with Pear Deck instead of present normally on Google Slides, and it'll automatically do that. It'll share the poll information with your kids, but you can see the more specifics, and actually it doesn't all have to be anonymous either, Michelle. You can see the data but present it anonymously, which is nice. Pear Deck is a way to make your slides engaging and interactive. Same with Nearpod. Can't overemphasize that enough. If you do nothing else with Google Slides, you need to incorporate Pear Deck and Nearpod in your Google Slides in order to have more interactive stuff with your kids. And I just need to point out, yes, we know we forgot to update Grammarly is misspelled. It's with an A-R-L-Y. We should have been using Grammarly when we made this. Michelle is unmuting, I think.
Yes, okay. My mom called and I had to do that. Yeah, I should have used Grammarly for this, but that's in Docs right there. Okay, so Grammarly will help with grammar checker. So that's what Grammarly would do. If students have something that's wrong with their grammar, they can use that to help them out. Orange Slice, that's for rubrics. You can create rubrics right in there. And they have everything from elementary to any age that you would need. Okay, 1 second. Something just flew over outside. Okay, all right.
All right, so I'll talk about Jozu Express. Jozu Express and Orange Slice are great if you are running in Chrome. If you are on an iPad system, they don't work because they are, because of those add-ons, they don't work with those apps in an iPad situation. They only work like if you're running Chromebooks or a regular laptop. So just be forewarned about that. Nearpod and Pear Deck will still work within an iPad construct on Google Slides, but on Docs, Orange Slice and Jozo Express don't work for that. But they are fabulous rubrics programs where it will embed the finished rubric right in the child's document so that they can see what you checked off and any feedback you left. Very easy to automate things and to export grades. Just so many features. They're fabulous programs. You're muted, Michelle.
There we go. We had a question. So once you can access these add-ons right when you're in Google Slides, it'll say at the top of your bar, it'll say add-ons, and then you click that, and then it'll have a drop-down box, and then you can search all of the add-ons that are available for you to use. And you would need to, so they'll just show you, if you're in Slides, you can just see the ones for Slides. If you're in Docs, same again. And also there's different ones for Sheets as well, which is more like, it's like an Excel program. It's more money oriented, formulas and things like that. But everyone but Google Drawings does not have any add-ons. Most of these are free. And then also people can rate them and show you how well they like them, how well they're working. There's different add-ons that come on all the time. So definitely make sure you go back and check that.
Yeah, and just remember, add-ons are different than extensions. Extensions are to your Google Chrome, but add-ons are specific for the Google application. So that's the difference between those.
And every time you want to run, so it's not automatic. If I want to have a Nearpod add-on running, I have to tell it, hey, I want to run my Nearpod add-on. And then on the right-hand side, it'll show me all my different options. And then I just click and drag through to what I want to add to my slides. So it's pretty neat once you do have it running.
And quite honestly, the Unsplash add-on is so fast and easy that I don't even search for images anywhere else. I just go right there because it's all within the application. It's so fast and easy.
Denise, can we ask you to clarify one more time the add-on versus extension?
Okay, so extensions are something, you still have to go to the little, what's the name I'm thinking of? The thing with the 4 blocks, the little app store thing, for Google, well, whatever you got. The waffle, thank you. That's what I was looking for. The waffle. You still have to go to the waffle for those. With add-ons, you can click the add-on menu within the application you're using and say get add-ons, and it'll automatically take you there. And then you can search for one specifically by name, or you can just go browse through the ones that are there. But an add-on is only for, like, if you're getting an add-on for Google Slides, it's just for Google Slides. It doesn't apply to anything else. Extensions apply for everything because they're all for the entirety of Google Chrome. So an extension might be your Bitmoji extension, where you're adding your little avatar to things. And that's an extension that's good for all Chrome apps that you might be using. But the add-ons are just for individual applications like Google Sheets, Google Draw. Make more sense now? Okay. Time putting together these lessons. Oh, Michelle's back. Good. Google has spent a lot of time putting together these lessons that help kids learn digital skills, and they are practical lessons that you can embed into your regular curriculum. You can use them as standalone lessons. They are phenomenally well done. They take kids through a series of videos and tasks, very interactive for the kids. And we wanted to talk to you about a few of those that are available to you. I particularly love them as emergency subplans. So Michelle, you want to talk a little bit?
Okay, yeah, so I did lose power. Sorry about that. I connected my phone. Okay, so we do have a website that lists all of the different videos that you can choose. And these are great videos because all you do is click on them and import them right into your Google Classroom. Okay, so they have different videos to help you learn. One of Denise's favorites is an if-then narrative, so kind of a choose your own adventure book you can create using slides. And then there's a sample down below that Denise has you can read. So if you decide to have a camel carry your supplies, what happens? Do you give them only your water? Do you keep going? Do you stop? And then depending on what the kids answer, it'll take them to different slides. So it shows you how to set this up and to make your own, choose your own adventure story. Also,
Let me interrupt and follow up on that a second, Michelle. So this was an actual student example. And the goal of this lesson was to teach them how to use Google Slides along with how to collaborate. So it taught collaboration skills with the team working on the same slide and taught them how to install hyperlinks. So all those green underlined things are hyperlinks to other slides within their presentation. And from an English perspective, they got exposure to second person narratives, which are very rare. So that was kind of a fun approach. I've also used this in combination with the Spanish teacher during part testing time when we had to share a classroom. And we did a joint lesson where kids had to incorporate Spanish terms and Spanish vocabulary into their narratives as well. And it's just so phenomenally well done because we basically just had to walk around and assist groups as they were going through things. The videos take them step by step through any of these programs. It's wonderful. Go ahead, Michelle.
And I really like how you did that because you're not just showing the students, okay, here's how we're going to insert a hyperlink today. They're actually creating a project. So it's more of a project-based learning and the students have a great thing at the end of this, not just, okay, now I have a whole bunch of notes on how to, how to underline things. And so it's really neat. They're creating a project instead of just, learning those terms. Okay, so they have help with research projects. If you need to have a video for research projects, basically anything, there's teacher ones and then there's student ones to help you learn as well. We did find some other ones that might be neat. So how to annotate documents, okay? Students might need that visual on how to annotate correctly instead of just highlighting the entire article. I definitely had a couple of them. Just highlight everything. I think that's important, but this will actually teach them what is important, how to put those notes on the side and show students why it's important. It's also another voice that the students can hear when they watch those videos if they don't want to, to hear it from somebody else, kind of like our own kids, got to hear it from somebody else. They also have some fun things. So there's digital art and games, a get to know you back to school so you can it'll help you design a poster all about you. Again, these are all digital things, so it's not like you're creating a real poster, but they'll probably have you use Google Drawings to create that poster. And it helps the students work through this whole thing. There's guessing games. You can also make a digital photo book, a digital picture book that would be neat to have students write their own stories in. So it shows you how to do that using Google Slides. And these are all free videos right from Google.
And it's not just videos. They give you the documents and everything you need for students to do this. They give the kids the step-by-step instructions. So all you have to do is monitor in case there's an issue. And so that's why I said they're perfect emergency sub-plans. I would highly suggest during this COVID time of quarantine that you pick 2 or 3 of these to have up your sleeve because they can be dropped in at any point in time. I've used that annotating documents one quite well. I've used the if-then narrative one. Love it. Highly recommend those.
And if you teach
and those are multi-day, some of these are multi-day things too. So just be forewarned.
If you teach older students too, they have resume building. They have, job skills that are applicable to today. So it helps these students like how to really format an email instead of just saying, yo teacher, I need help. It'll really help them with these skills that the computers are going to be here for good. And it really helps those students learn this. And again, it just integrates right into Google Classroom and it's an untapped resource that people really overlook. Okay, this one's just for fun. So if you have a little bit of filler time and you want to, you can go to Google Auto Draw. It uses machine learning to figure out what you're drawing. And I have a sample down here. I tried to draw a sailboat and the computer said, did you mean this sailboat? And then it created my nice little picture for me. It's kind of like Pictionary 2.0, but it's just a neat, if you have time for a filler, you know, hey guys, you did really good on your reading work today. Let's go to Google Auto Draw and let's create a sample, something from the book. And you can have students here create a very nice picture, and you know, Google uses their computers to figure out what you're drawing. So.
All right, so we popped in a few references at the end of the slideshow, and we are going to, Michelle, can you put that in the chat, the link for this? I think I emailed you the link, right, as well, with the automatic copy version.
Oh, of this presentation?
Of our slides, yeah,
Yeah.
so we can just put it in the Google chat for people, and then
Yeah.
we'll send that out, of course, later as
I'm
well.
gonna send it out to email. Let me pop, you know what, Denise, I don't want to share, my screen's recording my screen, so I'm gonna have to wait to get that through email, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll send the link out for these slides as well, so
Yeah.
you'll have that separately, not only the recording, but the link to the slides. And so if you're wondering how to do some of this other cool stuff, so maybe you're thinking about a Bitmoji classroom. Well, we put some tutorials there to show you some videos for how you can do that. We have a bunch of resources that we've given you the link to our West Jersey Reading Council page. Some powerful Zoom tutorials if you're wanting to use Zoom for breakout rooms and multiple screen shares that can help you with that. I've also included a link to some online resources listed. It's an actual, just a Google Doc of a whole bunch of hyperlinks from the New Jersey Council of Teachers of English. And so that link is there as well. And some video tutorials for online tools. This is a comprehensive list that our school district sent out that has the main video tutorials. So if you want to learn how to use Padlet, if you want to learn how to use Kahoot or Quizlet or any of these online tools, links to those video tutorials are in that document. And then just in thinking about how online engagement is very different from in person, there's a blog article from Cult of Pedagogy with 9 ways online teaching should be different from face-to-face. So this is our Ask the Expert session. So we wanted to open this up. You can ask us about anything with Google or online education that's plaguing you at this point. Anything that's on your brain. What do you want to know? What do you need help with? What are you concerned about?
And you can put those questions right in the chat or just unmute yourself.
It takes a few minutes to get people unmuted. I know that. Yeah, one of the things that we all know about is wait time, but wait time in an online environment is so much longer.
So we do have a question here. So how are you thinking to manage the in-person instruction and live streaming? Whew. Well, fortunately for my students, I will not be recording them. I am in a self-contained multiple disabilities program, and they've already decided they are not going to record. Students that are at home, I will have to check in every day with them and give them different work online. I have not figured out how to do that. I think what I'm going to do is more project-based learning and give them something that can be stretched out. And unfortunately, it's not the best, but my students really need it, but they're going to be working a lot with IXL. And it's a skill that helps them online. Our district really wants us to use it. So I will be using that with those learners at home as well. For every Wednesday, they do have to check in with me, and I've already made my reading classes. I'm going to read them a book over Zoom, and then we're going to talk about it. So I do have to have a half-hour class for each class I teach on Wednesdays. Those students that are at home will have to log in for that synchronous learning as well. But other than that, I haven't thought about it. Denise, have you?
Yes, I have. And a lot of the experts, as we talk about it, what works really well is sort of a flipped or blended learning approach. So if you can make some of your direct instruction pre-recorded, where you are recording your voice over a screencast if you're presenting a video or something, so that students who are at home, who are working asynchronously, that means not at the same time as us, can then access that later when they have parent help to go through it, because a lot of parents won't be able to help their students until later that night, or the kids are confused and they want to look at that again. Anything that is instructional, I'm making sure that is recorded and available on Google Classroom. I may duplicate that during my in-person instruction in class, but I want to make sure that that recording is also available for all of my students. And that's how I plan to support those live streaming kids if that happens, because our live streaming situation is mainly for overflow, or if a child is quarantined within a regular in-person cohort. We are not live streaming our regular remote instruction. I'm grateful for that. So I'm planning on having those recordings.
Our school is. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't want to know anything about that, but they are doing a live streaming of classes. Students have to like,
okay.
I guess.
So Suzanne said she was thinking about the simultaneous model of teaching in person with and handling of questions from remote students. So one of the things that I plan on using is a program called Parlay, P-A-R-L-A-Y. Can you just type that in the chat for me, Michelle? My chat's giving me an issue. And Parlay is a paid tool. It is very expensive. They just now offered an individual teacher model. I think it's costing $150 for a year license, but it allows you to do roundtable discussions and to do back channel chatting and to all read, say, the same discussion prompt and either respond in person or online to people, and it tracks those responses. It's got fabulous data reporting features. It's P-A-R-L-A-Y, Michelle. And I have not yet used it. I just found out about it recently and I've been playing around with it, but oh my gosh, is it powerful. They have built-in prompts for you to use, or you can create your own. So I do a lot of Socratic seminars in my classes with my 8th graders. So I will have them do a reading and contemplate some questions that they want to ask and answer some of my questions before tackling our group discussion. And so it allows you to customize that, put that in. You can, on a moment, and this is what I love about it, I'm in person today. Oh, we're all quarantined tomorrow. You can flip it to at home without any struggle, or vice versa. We're all at home. Okay, tomorrow we're back in person. It allows itself to go both ways for both in-person and online chatting, and you can use it for kids who are online while you're in person. So that's its strength. And they have some great video tutorials that explain it all better than I could. So I encourage you to go to parlayIdeas.com to check that out. That's one tip I'm using. Does anybody have any other tips that they're using for that simultaneous live streaming and in person?
Anne just wrote that they're going to use the teaching assistants in the school to help with questions students may have while the students are teaching, about what the teachers are teaching. And that's a great idea to have them to use them as a resource. Because sometimes, you know, I do have 9 staff that work with me, and that would be a good idea to say, hey, can you answer questions of students that come in from home? Because, you know, to have us stop, and it's almost like we're doing 2 different things. We're doing the whole remote teaching plus live teaching at the same time. And I think it's going to be a very interesting year. From the numbers I'm seeing, it looks like a lot of students are going to be staying home. So I think we just got to get through it. We're all resilient. We all just flipped on a dime and learned how to work from home. This next year will be very different, but I think we're just going to have to get through it somehow and use those resources that we have right there. If we have an assistant, let's use them.
And if you don't have an assistant, if you have a back channel chat program, and some of the ones that I've liked to use have since gone out of business, like back channel chat. But if you just Google back channel chats, you'll find some good ones that will work for you. And you could even have a student monitor that. And so if you don't have a teaching assistant, if you have a responsible student, who can monitor that and say, Joey has a question, and then offer that to the class. You could do that as well. That's kind of what I would suggest, is having a student make that their student job where they monitor the back channel chat.
And Denise, when you're ready, show them the next slide. So we do have a PD certificate if you do need this for school. I have it set up, so you just click there and then it'll open up your own document, write your name in there for 1 hour on that. So this was our first one. I hope next week there's no, tornado watches out back and we all have power. I'm currently using my cell phone service right now. But we do have next week, we do have FaceTime. And that's how to get more FaceTime in with students. So we do have Denise is going to be teaching that as well, along with Kathy. Kathy is our old president from last year. So we do have, she will be teaching
not
that.
old.
Previous, yes, previous. Thank you, Kathy. Previous years. And she will be teaching that. So how to get that FaceTime with students that they crave. And it really helps you because we're going to be online a lot. And how to make that connection with your students, even right off the bat, if you have those students at home, right off the bat. And also, let's see. So we do have, on the 18th, we have project-based learning with Maria Matlack. She will be teaching how to do, maybe you start a project in school, and then while they're at home, they can still be working on that. So it's not new instruction every day, let's continue that. So project-based learning is on the 18th. And then we do have on the 25th, our last one, it's Literacy for Justice and Equality. And that will help you teach some books that will bring in some different, racial backgrounds for the students to read and to learn from those different worldviews. It'll open up some doors and windows for students to imagine different worlds that they're not used to. And let's see. I'm going to answer some questions on the slides.
I saw people were asking for the link to the PD search. That's going to be sent out. We're going to send out an email that's going to have the link to the video, the Google Slides presentation we had that has all the links embedded in the slides, along with the PD search. So you'll have that all in the email that's coming out to you. As soon as the video processes, probably within 48 hours, you'll have that. You're muted, Michelle.
I know. I can also I'll send out the slides right away. So I have it already set up in Eventzilla. That's how everybody will get the link. So just check an email from them, the same one you use to register for. I'll have a link to these slides right inside here. Anything that's underlined is a link to another website. So there's tons of other links for you to check out that we haven't even gone to. The PD certificate will automatically populate one for you so you can write on it and then print it out, save it, whatever you need to do. Let's see, anything else?
So we are pretty much done, but Michelle and I will hang on in case anybody has some questions. Feel free to stay around and ask your questions. But for those of you who came out for our first West Jersey Reading Council webinar on Ask the Experts, we're glad you were here. Thank you for coming. We hope you got something out of today's session.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you for the time that you could definitely see was carefully curated for the resources and extremely user-friendly. So thank you.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Girls are awesome.
So if anybody has any other things that they're worried about, concerned about, want some help with, we're here for you.
Yeah, reach out. We have you'll get our emails and Twitter right on there. I also run the Facebook site, so I see Julie on there a lot. And all you need to do is just reach out. You can also put in there, you can direct message us and we'll get that right away. Denise is more of a Twitter girl. So either way, we'll get to there.
Julie, I love your background.
Thank you.
That is really neat. You know what would be a great post? Have you made a Bitmoji classroom yet?
No.
No, it's on my to-do